On today's episode, we're going to be doing the review you've all been waiting for.
The S21 Ultra.
S21 Ultra. S21 Ultra. I like your S21 Ultra, right?
The S21 Ultra.
The S21 Ultra. The S21 Ultra.
Alpha team, this is Echo team. Level 1 is clear. Copy that, Echo. Proceed with caution. 10-4.
Hey, what's up everybody? It's Manpreet Singh here.
And I am Patwant Singh, and we are the
Unbox
with Singhs. So on today's video for you guys, this has been our benchmark review. We've cited this device in almost every video you've seen so far, and it is the
S21 Ultra.
What a beautiful device, I must say. And I think right before we even talk about it and do a review on it, you know, based on our intro video and everything people know from our videos, I like smaller phones, you like bigger phones.
Yeah.
But with this guy, which is a bigger phone, I've somehow managed to fall in love here. So S21
It's just
Ultra.
that good of a phone.
It is.
It's just that good of a phone, yeah.
So like we were saying, this phone has been our benchmark, and you know, many reviews are compared to this. I love it. What about you?
You know what? It's probably my favorite phone. You guys by now probably know my feelings on that Mi 11 Ultra,
Yeah.
which I do love the phone. Just, you know, some stuff wasn't awesome about it.
Yeah.
Which brought me right back to the Ultra.
Yeah.
So the S21 Ultra has definitely been the winner for me this year.
Yeah.
That could change. A few other heavy hitters coming out a little bit later, but we'll
Yeah.
see what happens.
So, you know, we and you were talking about a few things back when we did our video on the Android discussion that we made.
And we were like, how amazing would it be
If
Google and Samsung kind of started collaborating a little bit more?
The Android messages by default, the Google feed, a lot of...
I think the Google feed is what did it for me mostly.
That was our only request based
Yeah.
on the S20 series.
Like the Google feed right here,
Yeah.
probably my favorite thing. Swiping right for
all the news.
your news.
Yeah.
Probably my favorite thing. So an important thing to keep in mind with these reviews is the thing that we like about phones is the simplicity of it.
Yeah.
If I have to go and add a launcher to make something better,
Yeah.
that takes points away from the phone.
I
Right?
agree.
So that is something that's a negative against the phone. If it's something that I can do right out of the box,
Yeah.
that makes that phone so much better.
And the beautiful thing here is we have an option now. Like for those people that are used to Samsung's, I guess, every part of their ecosystem, they can use Samsung free.
Yeah.
And with those who like the Google feed, they can choose that. So it's beautiful.
So and other things to point out, like yes, anything is possible on an Android. You can customize it however you want, but I want to customize stuff without rooting. I don't want to have to go
Yeah.
into all that extra
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. It should just
And
be an option.
That Samsung and Google partnership has just made it that much easier for us to get something as simple as the Google feed.
But yeah, like totally that lack of having to do any sort of modifications, and it just works that way.
It's just that much more appealing, right? It's
I
just
love
that
it.
much easier, and the appeal is so much more.
I agree with you. So
So now that we've got that, you know,
Out
a
of the
little
way.
bit of
Yeah.
you know, our Samsung history out of the way, let's just jump into the stuff that we don't like. You know
there's
what?
still a few things.
There are still a few things. There's always going to be some things that we're not going to like. And
Yeah.
by we, I mean, you know, the general public, we're all going to not like some
Yeah.
certain things.
So go ahead with yours, and I only have there's only one big quirk I have with the Ultra.
So my biggest thing, and I think this is probably going to be the biggest thing for the general public,
Yeah.
it's too expensive. It is
Yeah.
extremely expensive.
I think me and you did like so much research, and
Yeah.
we bought our phones probably a week apart. We
Yeah.
both have them, and we got some deals, some sales, some trade-ins, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
We got it down to $1,500 roughly, which is still
Which is expensive, but it allowed us to get the 512 gig with the 16 gigs of RAM.
Yeah.
So that made it a little easier,
yeah.
but I mean, it's still super expensive.
The other thing is in the box, they got rid of, like, we thought Apple was being, you know, frugal for a lack of better terms. I mean, sorry, saving the environment. But Samsung did it too. They got rid of the charging. The part that disappointed me when I opened the box was the lack of a charger. Now, well, a charging brick, I should say. 'cause
Charging brick, yeah.
We
The
saw
cable's in there.
the cable. Thank you for the
cable's
cable,
in there.
which I immediately.
USB-C to USB-C.
But at the same time, Apple did it, and then we thought like, okay, this is going to be one of those things. Apple does it, Samsung is going to be like.
We figured they were going to copy, yeah.
Yeah, we figured they'd copy, but we also were disappointed by that copying. So
Just to sidetrack for 1 second, the funny thing about this was Samsung sent out that tweet basically taking a shot at Apple saying, hey, our charger's still included. But guess what? The next iteration of the phone,
it was gone.
No charger. So
the only thing with that really disappointed me is that they had a sale when they launched the phone on chargers.
Right.
Like the charging bricks and
they did
cables.
have a charger on it. Sale, yeah.
They were on sale, like Canadian $12.50 for the basic charger, which I believe was the 20-watt one.
I think it was the 25, yeah.
25, yeah,
watt,
that's the one. And I think it was $40 for the 45-watt charger.
Yeah.
And that wasn't bad.
When you're paying, let's say at retail cost over $1,600 for a phone,
yeah,
you'd expect that charger to be in
And the
there.
one we got was 1,800 Canadian retail.
And you know what? I would like to have that dongle at least, right? Let me plug in my headphones.
Yeah.
That's not included either, just so you're aware.
So you literally only get a USB to USB-C cable and some paperwork and the box itself and the phone, obviously. Yeah. Oh, and you get a SIM pin.
Oh, you get the SIM ejector. Yeah, that's it.
At least you guys didn't take that away.
So the only other negative that I saw with this, and it's kind of, like I'll say it in the negative section, but it's something more that's camera related, that is that 100 times zoom.
Yeah.
Like once you use it, it's completely unusable.
It's a gimmick. I think 30 times zoom is probably better.
30 times is probably the most doable zoom, I would say.
I think we could push this one to 50, but I don't think I would go beyond that one.
Yeah.
The only thing that I really hated was the lack of an SD card reader. They took that slot out, and I thought it was very disappointing because now you're, just like Apple, forced to sort of buy the higher end if you want.
Yeah, if you want that extra storage.
Yeah. However, they didn't make it, it's only like a $50 increment on the base model.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, it just
still costs more, right?
That's something about Samsung that I was really happy about, because I used to have an SD card, and let's say I recorded this in 4K on the Samsung, and I need to go do something else, and I'm on a vacation, I can at least offload it onto the card, and I can't do that now.
Can't do that now.
So, and then with the cloud, you're incurring data charges and stuff like that.
So, especially if you're traveling, you might not have reliable Wi-Fi. There's all kinds of potential issues.
Yeah. So on the Ultra, that's my only sort of quirk is the SD card.
Yeah.
And then if I had the S21 base, then it would have been they downgraded the RAM from the S20 as well.
Which is
Which is kind of like
that's kind of a downgrade from the previous one, but that's not here or there, right?
That's another type of story.
So those are basically all the cons that we had. Hey?
There weren't too many.
Like, there wasn't too many.
There weren't too many.
For the most part, we really liked the phone. Let's go ahead and jump into what's good about it.
So one of the biggest pros for me was, I mean, there's a few. We have the Google integration a little bit more than before. But the fact that I can and a lot of people call this a gimmick, but the fact that I can, if I want to, use an S Pen.
Yes.
So for me, that's a huge pro because I like tablets. I like using stylus or some sort of pens with my devices when they're big. And this is big.
Yeah.
So having the ability, if I ever needed to use an S Pen, that it's available. And you know what? It's an extra cost, but at the same time, if you don't want it, you don't buy it, and it works.
You can also see that it comes with an S Pen case. I actually have an S Pen case on it right now.
Yeah.
So you can see. You can take the.
This is the
pen right out of
Samsung
it.
silicone S Pen case, which also they had a big sale for about. And then what if I had a tablet? I can use that S Pen on here too.
Exactly. So I mean, from the S7 tablet, you can use that same pen on this as well, as long as you've enabled multiple S Pen use, which is an option in there. So that part's pretty awesome. Now, the thing that I really love about it, or one of the things I should say, is that 120 hertz refresh rate.
And this one is variable.
It's variable,
which I like.
Yeah, so it does save battery, so you can see some of the movement here.
Yeah.
So it's a bit tougher to catch on camera, but it is an extremely good screen.
And it goes down to like 1 hertz, was it? Or was it 10? 10 hertz.
Yeah, so 10 hertz is That's
pretty
unreal.
low.
Like that's
Yeah.
it's not even moving basically. Like that refresh rate is so low, and then
And
it goes all the way to 120.
Yeah,
which-
and it fluctuates based on what you're looking at. So if you're just looking
Exactly.
at you're just looking at a picture and not doing anything else,
Yeah.
it's gonna go down to about 10 hertz.
Yeah.
It might be like 40 as well, but
Yeah.
it depends.
it all depends on what's happening on the screen,
Exactly.
and that's a way to save battery.
And I like that. So
Yeah.
they've optimized their software quite a bit better.
Yeah.
Obviously integrating with Google there, but
Totally.
so we talk about that. What about the fingerprint scanner now? Like last year's was, I would say, a hair slower than this.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on that?
But it also wasn't as big as this one, right? So they increased the size by
sensor.
what they say is 30%.
Yeah.
So you know what? It's really good. You touch it, like I tap it, it's
Yeah.
unlocked. Like it's pretty much instant. Like you have it open, you hit it, and it unlocks pretty much instantly. So it is definitely something that is well worth it. And you guys know how I feel about those optical sensors that light up the whole screen.
That give you retinal burns.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
so this is by far my favorite way to unlock the phone.
Yeah, and then as well, because me being an audio guy, with Samsung, traditionally with iPhones and Apple products, their speakers and their audio system for recording and everything all around is amazing.
Yep.
Last year I was noticing that with my S20 that it was like really good, but this Ultra, even better.
Yeah.
And the sound quality I get on this, whether it's me recording into the microphone just like this, or me sort of listening to YouTube, especially when you turn
Yeah.
it into landscape mode,
Yep.
man, this sounds like a laptop.
Yep.
It's
it
loud.
has come a long way.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. This 2021 series phones,
They've done a lot.
they've come a long way in terms of audio. Like Apple clearly used to be the best one, but
I still
now
think they're
they've
the
got some
best by a
competition.
hair. compared to
I
this
think
one.
so too, but
Yeah.
but now they've got legitimate competition.
And Samsung stepped up their game not just on their S21 Ultra, but also on their tablets with the S7
Yeah.
Tabs series. But
Yeah.
that's another video. What about the battery? How'd you feel about that?
So 5,000 milliamp hours. That's a pretty big battery.
Yeah.
MH Photography kind of takes shots at me because sometimes I go and meet up and it's a bit later on in the day, and I'm at like 15-16%
Yeah,
battery.
We did.
I do think that it may be an acceptable trade-off if that battery size is what made them take that
SD card?
expanded
Yeah.
storage out. I may be able to kind of.
I watched a teardown video. I don't remember whose, and it wasn't. The
It wasn't,
case.
yeah.
No.
So when they just kind of take something away just cause, that's the stuff. That
It's
I'm
not just
cool with.
because, like, we might as well be real and say they take it out so you spend money and get the higher storage. Like,
Right.
Apple's been doing that for ages.
Yeah.
Well, since
they
day one.
never gave us expandable storage.
And
so-
for me, I always find myself buying the either highest or second highest tier for any Apple product,
Apple
whether
product,
it be
yeah.
a laptop, any other computer,
Yeah.
tablet, or phone. So Samsung did it to it this time with the Ultra. Now, I did mention earlier, with the Samsung, with the S20, I just bought the S20, and it was just the S20, which had its good RAM, 12 gigs in that one,
Yeah.
and I just stuck a 512 gigabyte SD card in it,
Yep.
and that was solid. Now with this, the reason me and you we sort of discussed was that you can hook up this Samsung to an external monitor, to like a Next Dock type of docking station, and even your TV. And what this thing then becomes is your computer. Now to have 16 gigs of RAM in your pocket with obviously the 512 gigabyte storage, which is a fast SSD in here.
Yeah, it is.
It makes it a pretty high-end computer, and it also has the Snapdragon 888.
Yeah.
So
So using that as a segue,
Yeah.
something really amazing about these Samsung devices is also the DeX system.
yeah,
That one is so awesome. So with these, you can also do it wirelessly. So
Yeah.
wirelessly, you can connect to your laptop, your PC, or whatever, and you can basically access anything on your phone with your computer monitor, mouse, and keyboard.
I did have a Next Dock. I tried one out for like a couple of weeks, and although that I wasn't too happy with some of the hardware aspects of it, it gave me a lot of like wow, like I really only ever need to have my Samsung.
Yeah.
And then if
you
I
can pretty
travel,
much
I
do
just take
anything.
the Next Dock with
Yeah,
me.
and you can pretty much do anything you need
Anything
to
I can do on here or through here with
Yeah.
that word. But if you're aware
Yeah.
and tech savvy and know of these sort of options, then really, like, what else do you need?
do. And honestly, if you need a tutorial of DeX or anything like that, let us know. We'll be happy to
Yeah,
make a
leave it in
video.
the comments if you wanna
leave
see.
a comment below. we'll be happy to make a video of that for you guys.
The other thing, sort of segueing in from that to the next topic, is you know, it's great at DeX, it's great with its hardware and its specs, but the camera's on here. So if you're a creator, if you're doing video, video camera is really good on here. Not iPhone level, but I'm telling you, it's just a hair.
It's just a little
Just
bit
a
below.
hair.
Just a little bit
But
below.
this can do 8K.
Yes.
And
8K 20?
24 frames a
8K
second.
24, yeah. 8K
And
24.
it's still okay, but I'm okay with 4K at 60,
Yeah.
and this does it beautifully.
It does it beautifully. Yeah. When you go 4K 60,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
So
it,
then-
it actually kills it when it's you know, regular HD 60. It does an amazing job.
So then, speaking of this camera array, what's your thoughts on it?
You know what? I actually think it's very versatile. So there are some drawbacks to it, which is basically just image processing.
Yeah.
I'm kind of holding on to the hope that
Software update.
maybe they will connect with Google and, you know,
Oh.
start using Google's image processing and have,
Oh my
have a more
gosh.
natural look with these excellent sensors.
That's the rumor and the word on the street. Even Google teased it.
Yeah, So it will be something that's amazing. One thing that I actually really love is I like to go out and take a lot of nature photographs. Taking pictures of, you know, like this kind of stuff behind us here, right? Like nice lakes and stuff, and just little nature things on hikes and stuff.
yeah.
The 108 megapixel camera is very worth it.
Do you switch to pro mode and activate that a lot, or what?
So I don't do the whole pro mode thing because I still prefer to just point and shoot.
Yeah.
Because when I'm out there, I don't want to spend 5 minutes setting
Yeah,
up
you wanna
pro
be in the
mode,
moment still.
doing all the lighting and all
Yeah.
that stuff. Like I don't want to deal with all of that.
Yeah.
So I will just change it to 108 and I'll keep it on auto. So I'll let
Okay,
it do
okay.
its thing.
But you
So
set
it
the
does-
megapixel capture.
Exactly, but I put the megapixel capture to 108. So it
Yeah.
does do some overexposure, right? So when you see the green, like let's say you take a picture of a tree, it'll enhance that green to make it greener. And some people are gonna absolutely love that.
And some won't.
Some won't,
So
right?
it does oversaturate some
yeah,
of the colors.
so anything that's camera related, this is definitely subjective. It varies a lot from person
Just
to
like all of
person.
our eyes are different, your perception on what you see based on any
Exactly.
device's camera is going to be the same way.
Exactly. So
My-
that is something awesome.
It is. And so my favorite takeaway from this camera, being a user of the S20, the laser autofocus.
The laser autofocus.
And we had that in your
In my S20 Ultra, yeah.
Note 20 Ultra.
Yeah. In my Note 20 Ultra, it had the laser autofocus.
The
but
S20
the
Ultra
S20
didn't.
Ultra did not.
And
yes.
that had huge issues. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that they brought that in to this Ultra.
Yeah.
Which I think for me, other than those little tiny sort of camera, little lag, tiny lag, other than that, it makes this camera system more complete.
So that lag has improved quite a bit too.
Quite a bit.
With
Quite.
their updates, they've been making that lag time lesser and lesser.
Yeah.
And that has been so welcomed. Like I've loved that.
Me too. So yeah, the camera sensors are definitely, one of my favorite things on this phone. So should we show some pictures?
Yeah, we'll definitely put some pictures up. Those will be coming up now. All right. So one last thing that I wanted to talk about the camera,
Yeah.
and it's kind of a gimmick, but kind of not because it actually works. But I love astronomy, so that stuff is really fun to me. And I've taken many pictures of the moon, and I will actually put a picture in the video as well, so we can show you some of these moon pictures.
Yeah.
It takes awesome pictures of the moon. Again, if you go beyond 30 times,
gonna
it starts
be-
to,
yeah.
not look so clear. But anything between 25 and 30 times, it looks really good. The other cool thing is, if you're patient and you can set up pro mode, so it's going to be more of an advanced user.
Yeah.
If you do set that up, again, this is not a point and shoot. This is just an advanced user kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if you do that and set up a long exposure, you can capture all types of stars and all that kind of stuff. If you're really lucky, you might even catch a shooting star.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. So, but again, that's a pro mode feature. It's not something that's just point and shoot. If you just point and shoot, like, it will do a longer exposure because it'll do a night shot, but it's not going to be.
But I
as good.
like that you have the sort of ability to go in and do it and choose to do it, opposed to with
Exactly.
Google, like with the Pixel.
As opposed to, it's going to do it all for you.
Because the Pixel, it's going to do it all for you, but not just that. Like once you put it on a tripod and
Yeah.
it senses
have
that
to-
there's
yeah.
not even a little bit
You
of
have
wiggle,
to put it all in the
it will
perfect-
automatically go to astronomy
Exactly.
mode or star mode
Yeah.
or whatever it's called.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't just, you can't force it.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, definitely. I saw some of those moon pictures when you sent them to me, and they were pretty clear, man.
Yeah, they look really good. So like that's kind of a cool thing that I like.
Yeah.
So yeah, that pretty much covers the pros and the cons of the S21 Ultra.
Let's get into the scorecard then.
Let's get into the scorecard. The scorecard, this is the first phone that we're doing the scorecard for.
Yeah.
We will modify it for things such as tablets, earphones, and that kind of stuff.
And laptops.
Exactly, and laptops. So let's jump into it. All the scores are out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to start with build quality, aesthetics, overall design, and feel. We both agreed, and that one is a 9.
Yeah, so, you know, Samsung has that pretty down. Build quality is always solid on their phones. The aesthetics are good. The screen to body ratio is amazing. The way it feels with the slight curves. Now, this does have the rounded displays, curved displays, but
the
you know what?
accidental edge detection is pretty awesome.
It's awesome. I don't mind it. I never hated that. And so that's one reason. The placement of the cameras, the buttons, and the ports, the speaker layout, everything. Even with a case, with this kind of case that's open at the bottom, I can remove my SIM card.
It all works.
I think they've thought of a lot of different things, and so that's why we gave it a 9.
On to the second item on the card, the cameras. So for this, we both actually agreed again, and that is 8.
Yeah, so 8 on the cameras because the camera did lose some points for some things that sort of are a mix of the hardware and the software optimization for the cameras. Sometimes slight shutter lag, very, very rare these days with this model. And also the way the images are processed.
Sometimes overexposed.
Overexposed,
So
or the colors are... And again, we mentioned it earlier, that's debatable. Everybody has their own opinion on that.
So some people are going to love that. It might be a 10 to you. This is just, these are our opinions.
These are our opinions, yeah.
So camera 8.
Yeah.
The next thing is the software skin. So these are not vanilla Android.
No.
These are the Samsung version of Android. So they've put their own skin on it.
Samsung UI 3.
Exactly. Samsung UI 3 is what these have. That one we've given a 7, and surprisingly we both agreed on that again.
We agreed on most, if not all, of these scores. 7 because, you know, it's not stock Android, number one. But, you know, I was debating between going to 8 simply because of the customizability. But that also factors into the 7 because there's also things that you can't do that you can do on other phones, like the icon size. You can definitely download themes, don't get me wrong, and change the icons, but you can't keep it
just customize it
like
the icon
individually,
itself.
like go to the icon, add this, and this.
Yeah.
Google's actually gotten really advanced at that compared to before, especially I have Android 12 beta, and that you can do a lot more.
There's a lot more stuff. Small customizations like that,
Yeah, but you know, the software skin, other than that, I mean, there's nothing spectacular about it. There's a lot of animations that are still old and dated, and that brought the number down a bit.
So the next item is security. So in this case, we've got, for this phone specifically, we've got fingerprint scanner.
Yeah.
And we've got what's called the secure folder. So if you've got files or folders that are work related, that are of value, and you don't want them getting out in the public, like let's say you work at a bank and you've got private information of clients or whatever on there, you've got that secure folder here that's only going to work with either your fingerprint, which we've established is extremely secure, or you can set up a PIN or a password.
The other thing on here that I've done on mine is there's a work profile as well. So there's a secure folder, but you can also
can create another profile,
a work profile, which is nice.
So that security we've given a 9 to.
Yeah.
And then moving on, probably one of our favorite features, that is the always on display.
It's such an underrated feature, the always on display.
I think if you're an Android fan, you just know it and you expect it.
I mean,
if you're someone that loves Apple, you don't really know it, so you don't miss it.
Unless you're like us and you love Apple, but also love Android.
And also love Android, yeah. So, I mean, that's something that I can say I definitely miss when I'm using my iPhone.
100%. I always look down and I'm like, what time is it?
Yeah, and you can't see it.
Even though I have a watch on.
So that this is, you want to give us some more information on how customizable it is and that kind of stuff that you love?
It's pretty insane because you can do anything. And if you download a Samsung software called Good Lock, you can even take it to the next level and really customize it.
Really customize.
And I did. So I moved my time over here. I did a bunch of stuff with it that you can't do just out of the sort of gate.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can change the colors, you can change the icons, you can add custom pictures there, you can change sort of the size, and with good lock, you can take one type of always on or even lock screen sort of preset and modify it even more, move it, sort of crop it, change one number a little higher than another. You can do a lot of customizability.
You can do all kinds of customization.
So with that always on display, what did we give it?
Always on display got a 10 because of that customizability.
I don't think it deserves anything lower. It's probably one of the, if
Yeah.
not the best,
Yeah.
always on displays in any Android device.
Yes. And then the screen, like the display quality.
This
is pretty much perfect. And we've both agreed and gave it a score of 10.
It's a 10. You can't knock this screen. Now Samsung makes their panels and they're optimized with their hardware and they're amazing. It feels like you're looking at just like, it's very magical. I can't think of a better term for it. It's a very magical experience. But
Yeah.
something to add is even Apple and a few other companies, even Google,
Yeah.
I think Google,
well, now for the Pixel 6, it's
for the Pixel
definitely
6,
gonna happen.
and then even Asus.
Yeah.
And there's a few others. I know I'm forgetting one more.
All right, so that was how we feel about the general display.
Yeah. amazing.
Overall usability. So this is going to be scored a little bit differently per phone. And the reason why we say that is sometimes you don't have flagship specs, but you can get that flagship experience.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
So I just want to differentiate that as we're kind of
so it's kind of
introducing
specs
the
versus
scorecard.
real life use in a
Exactly.
sense.
Yeah.
So for that, what did we give it?
For that, we gave it a 9
Yeah.
because some of that comes down to One UI 3 not being
Yeah.
perfect, but
It's sort of a bit of everything. Like the thing is, like there's things that people like me may notice, like it's heavy, its size is too big, and don't worry, I'm not saying that as a negative thing from my personal perspective here. The corners are a little bit pointy; they're getting kind of notish, unless you have, a different case or something. But generally, it's pretty solid. Like even a guy like me who doesn't like bigger phones, this is the usability of the One UI 3. You can swipe down from anywhere. All the gestures and things like that allow me to navigate and use this phone pretty good. So yeah, I think it's a 9. Like even
Absolutely.
for a guy
Yeah.
like me who likes smaller phones.
yeah, absolutely. And then the last thing we have on the card is battery life.
Yeah.
So this includes the size of the battery versus the optimization of the battery.
Yeah.
So we've both agreed that this gets an 8.
Yeah. So, here's the thing, like the reason it's not like a 9 or a 10, my opinion is, I have an iPhone 12 right here, okay? It's got a skin on it, but it's an iPhone 12. Now this has just under a 3,000 milliamp battery, okay? And the S21 Ultra has a 5,000 milliamp battery. Sometimes with just moderate, regular day-to-day use, the iPhone will last longer, a day and a half to 2 days, from my S21 Ultra, which has arguably 40% more battery for just rounding off.
Yep.
So based on that, I think another thing to consider is this thing only has 4 gigs or 6 gigs of RAM, whatever it is,
Right.
and things like that. But
I mean, it's optimized perfectly.
it's optimized.
For what it is, it's optimized perfectly.
Yeah, the iPhone.
Whereas, Android has always had that problem. They probably will always have that problem. That's
Yeah.
why they can generally throw, huge batteries at things.
But that's
do-
also a reason people like it. So you take that with a grain of salt,
Exactly,
right? So the
yeah.
customizability and the adaptability of this phone, like we said, you can turn it into a computer, literally.
Yeah.
With that, the battery is still pretty solid, so that's why we gave it the score we gave it.
Okay. So that's our scorecard. The overall score is going to be
Give it a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10.
So this phone is an amazing overall phone.
Yep. So if you have any other questions, comments, anything like that, definitely leave them in the comment section down below.
Or just phone us on our S21 Ultra.
S21s.
But yeah, please like and
Please like and
subscribe.
subscribe. Share this with all your friends.
Yeah.
And we'll catch you in the next one.